The Asian media is rising as well. Do you think they'll improve our image with Asian men a lot? K-pop seems to be helping Asian men's image, plus Korean film industry is rising and recently won the Oscars. So the very first question is, to extent to, do you think that Western media damage Asian men? So these are like two questions of the same thing. So is it true that the media has damaged Asian men and their image? The answer is 100% yes. So who really owns the media that cause all this? Don't mind me dressing like a K-pop guy. I forgot to shave at one time. Looks funny, but yes, it has affected Asian men. The media has affected Asian men. So what is happening in the media that is happening is that the media has emasculated Asian men. They have made Asian men seem like they are undateable. So that's the first thing. The truth is, the Jewish media is responsible for putting us on the chopping block for our sexual market value. There's about 16 to 20 Jewish companies, billionaires, that in the past, the Jews were the ones who were SMV. They were the ones who were enslaved by the Germans. What happened was the smartest Jews have all left the country, and they have slaughtered more Jews that are dumb. So they now are an evolution sort of race. They have evolved to the smartest people on earth. And I'm the first one in the world to say it. Even as a Chinese, even though I'm on a genius level, doesn't matter. Jewish smarter than we are. They have owned half of the government. They have owned half of the media. All the media companies are Jewish. They're all owned by Jewish billionaires. That's why they have weird last names. That's the truth. So basically, after the Jewish been slaughtered, and yes, I am trained in Israeli Krav Maga, military martial arts. So I know this culture very well. This culture is the one enslaving Asians in the media. They get to choose what kind of Asian actors are portrayed. And for Asian men, the actors that are usually portrayed are very feminine looking men and guys acting like a stereotype. You always see these stupid stereotypes of comedians who sold out. So yes, it has affected us in terms of the sexual market value. And the only people that you see in the media of Asian men are guys like Glenn or whatever. They have these fucking square jawlines and they all have the same template. They always act like they're wearing blazers, their hair are up, and women are like, oh yeah, that's attractive, but she wouldn't fuck him. Okay. She wouldn't fuck him in a million years. That's the funny thing. That's as close as we've ever gotten to a positive stereotype. Jewish media has destroyed us. That's the truth. They want somebody else to have revenge on. And why not just come after the Asians? So in our image, you got to look at K-pop. The other guy's question is K-pop helping us? In fact, if it weren't for K-pop, okay, for the pre-selection, the pretty boy type of positive stereotype exactly since September the 11th, 19 fucking years. If K-pop, Gangnam Style, Big Bang, BTS, EXO, all this stuff, if they didn't fucking exist, I would be struggling with the game because we had no positive stereotypes back then. All we had was goddamn Bruce Lee, he is actually 1/5 German. Bruce Lee is German. You're like, what the fuck? He is not even Chinese. Bruce Lee is part German. He's a mix of a white person. You're like, what the fuck, John? I thought he was Chinese. No, Bruce Lee is not Chinese. He is only like, his grandmother, I think her father is like German or something. And then we got Jackie Chan and Jet Li. That was our only positive stereotype. So in the Western media, we were treated like shit for all these years, but do not be fooled by appearances because the media does create the stereotype. This is why I tell people to dress in the positive or negative stereotype. So all the media we had before was goddamn Bruce Lee and fucking Jackie Chan and Jet Li. All these years, that's all we had. And Psy, Gangnam Style, all that stuff never came out. So pre-selection was created by the media. Who knew that a bunch of narrow-jawed Korean fucks, right, were the ones that actually got the white girls' attention? They were very different. They wore makeup. They put guy liner to make their eyes look bigger. And they had bright skin. The Koreans, they were skinny as hell. They're muscular and they're pretty boy types. And the teenage girls went crazy over it. They went completely fucking nuts over it. They're like, holy shit. And they went crazy. So for that instance, that was actually our first positive stereotype. And the other question is, because Asia is going on the rise for the Chinese, they are definitely on the economic rise, but economic rise does not mean that white women are going to submit and spread their legs. Because when you look at looks, money, status, and game, for money, you can only add 5 points to the whole thing. So that's not going to change that much. So even if the economic is rising, it doesn't mean their sexual market value is rising. That did not raise the sexual market value of Asian men at all. In fact, I would say that it made you more indifferent. And now you got these Asian men with bad hair without any sort of pomade going downward, bad fashion, baggy clothing, scaring the living shit of white women, xenophobia. So is China's rise in the world economic power helping Asian men in general? I would say that it helped it 0%. Zero. It hasn't done shit at all. K-pop has done shit, but that was many years ago. The only group that is known is called BTS. Korean actors did not create such a positive stereotype as much as other things. That means only K-pop. So you wonder, why does pretty boys with makeup in bright skin, somehow it created a pre-selection? And even in Europe, if you are pretty boy type, European women do like you. I know it sounds very strange because we always think of positive stereotypes. We always associate with the Hollywood stereotype: tall, strong, broad shoulders like Captain America. But when Asians try to do the same shit, guess what happens? Nothing. Women don't give a fuck about these Glens or these Fast and the Furious. Who's that guy? The guy with the long hair, and then he's like square jawed. They're always a goddamn square jawed guy. And you got these doctor guys who have square jaws in these Hollywood movies. So in some ways in Hollywood, we are backwards. We are backwards by many years. Okay. And somehow for Asian men, a lot of them do have very square jaws, and the women do too. But we're born with a square jaw, a lot of us. That's why they have this surgery to reduce the jawline and make us look better. But however, saying that, it did not help us whatsoever. K-pop is dying, is on the way out. It is not as popular. BTS may be popular with the girls right now, okay? And they're selling out and breaking all sorts of records for their concerts, their stuff like that. But for Asian men, their SMV is low. And I'm going to tell you why it's lower. Because of the COVID-19, we've been blamed for the Chinese virus. All of us Asians are suffering because of what fucking China did. So we're being blamed for the Chinese virus. So in some ways, you could say that our SMV is no longer 1 out of 10. It is finally at 0. So we have to think about the aftermath, what happens. And the only way you're going to make it very far is to learn the Western social skills in the Western fashion. Otherwise, you're fucked. You are so fucked. You guys just don't realize the fallout. They're trying to separate, even Donald Trump saying, yeah, this is the Chinese virus, but we have our Americans back at home who are different, but it's a Chinese virus. So yeah, after COVID-19, I would say that the SMV of Asian men, if you try to have black hair, I'm not saying you should have blonde hair like me, like a K-pop guy, but if you have black hair, at some point you probably experienced some kind of racism. It used to be like when COVID-19 started, 80 hate crimes a day in Vancouver. I was like, 80, that's a lot of hate crime. What the fuck? In the Jewish media, the billionaires were responsible for emasculation because they get to choose what's up there. Back then, for the media, we used to have a movie called Ghost in the Shell. It was based on an anime, a Japanese anime. Ghost in the Shell had Scarlett Johansson play a role of a Japanese woman who should be called Mutako, which is a character, like an android woman. This was a very famous animation back in the day, the 1990s, when I was growing up. There's one movie called Akira, Ghost in the Shell. But what happened was that was the last straw. When they saw a white woman playing a Japanese woman's role, people start protesting. They didn't protest, but they stopped buying into this narrative. Mulan, it was the only movie we ever had that was like more Asians, that we had an Asian cast. This was the only chance. And it fucked up. Somehow it fucked up. For all these years, I've been waiting for Mulan to come out. I thought it was going to be replaced by all white people, or at least half white people, like a white guy who Asian women. But no, because the Asians, at least we got this far, but that's an Asian women lead, not an Asian man, because Asian men, their only leads are kung fu movies and stuff like that. Shadow Ninja or something, some kind of K-pop artist, Korean guy. He played like some kind of role or something. Then we got these Jackie Chan movies, Tony Jaa. Asians in the media are treated like shit. K-pop has helped us a lot, but K-pop, Korean dramas are not as popular as K-pop, but K-pop is losing its popularity. So I would suggest Asians to bulk up, to work out, and to wear elevator shoes. And the other thing that really hurt us was Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang was trying to be the president of the United States. For the problem with Andrew Yang is that a lot of these Asians, they don't have any facial expressions. For most of them, he had this great idea, but his message was lost. He was like $1,000 for everyone if they join or his campaign, or if they like vote for him. He was talking about universal UBI, something, it's some kind of like free money, universal something money or some shit. But after COVID-19, I think they're going to try to introduce a UBI into the system where everyone gets free money and stimulus checks. These fucking socialist communist ideology. But however, for Andrew Yang, because Andrew had such bad hair and he had no facial expressions when he talked, Andrew Yang has alienated all the Americans because they don't even know why he's there. When they interview him, he's just, hey, I'm Andrew Yang. Oh yeah, I believe even if he could talk very well and stuff like that, Asians can only lift their eyebrows. That's about the problem with the Asian men is that they cannot move their fucking face. They can't change their voice. They can't hit different notes. They can't do all that shit. That's the problem. Not even in Daygame, outside of my students and me. They can't change the notes when they talk. They can't change the facial expressions. When you see me doing Daygame, I'm extremely animated, more than usual. I talk to women like this. And the thing is, that's very engaging when I talk to women like this. They love it. But I don't talk to you guys like this. So that's the second thing. The media, every single time we see Asian men being swept aside, especially like Jeremy Lin, when he's a basketball player and he's talking about all this inner game issues, is setting us backwards. Every time we have a JT Tran out there who is basically doing all this shit in nightclubs, is setting the Asian men backwards. Don't you see? The media doesn't even like you. They piss all over you. They emasculate you. And you know what? The K-pop owned it, that sort of emasculation. They made it hyper feminine. They say, fuck you guys. We're just gonna put this image out there, pretty boy, skinny Asian guys. You want to treat us like feminine? They owned it and they exaggerated it to the point where even white women were into them. It's having a million or thousands of Justin Bieber-like kind of people when Justin Bieber was younger. It was exactly the same with K-pop. It was like their army of Justin Biebers. You had one, we had for Asians, thousands, hundreds or thousands, whatever. And they become more popular. So yes, that was the only thing that really helped. K-pop has introduced pre-selection. K-pop has introduced pre-selection, and protector status would have been a better bet. Height, good looks, muscles, that would have helped a lot too. Because there's another set of Asian men, 1 in 5 will procreate and they'll marry a white woman. And the other 1 in 5 would not procreate. You guys are at a standstill. This is almost like a war, a cultural war, a revolution. And the truth is, I even remember my grandfather, believe it or not, he was actually the very first one who made Chinese television and Chinese radio in Vancouver, in the whole Canada. I was looking for his name on the Wikipedia for being the founder, and guess what happens? Nothing. The people who bought him out, I think the biggest company in Vancouver, the people who bought him out just gave him like a couple $100,000. They took over the whole Chinese media company, and guess what? They pissed on his grave. He's dead. When I was, one day, my grandfather told me, I was sitting there, I don't like any of my relatives, I don't want to hang around with them. This is what my grandfather said to me. My grandfather finally spoke And he spoke perfect English. He sounded exactly like me. One of these days, when you look at the Chinese, they may be a sleeping giant. They're not doing anything for so many years, not being woken up, but they are a sleeping giant. First of all, this is the only time he ever spoke to me in my whole life. And when I was growing up, I knew my grandfather was a media mogul. So it influenced me to fight for the Chinese people, because the first 7 years of your life, you accept everything into your mental filter. Your self-esteem is being built. He was a leader of Asian men. He's trying to fight for their rights. Maybe that rubbed off on me and it affected me. But however, he started speaking to me in English like the Chinese are the sleeping giants and they'll eventually wake up. I think they have woken up. They're going to start a world war. I bet. When all the countries will stop trading with them, they're going to start some shit. They have fucked around with so many countries. The truth about the Chinese people, PUAs and all that stuff, they don't have much empathy. It's a genetic default. It's called a MAO gene, or MOB-A or MAO-something. But there's a psychopath gene that Chinese have. They're ruthless. Of all the other races, Chinese, for Daygame, they have the worst fashion of all the races. They're all shit. But the Chinese have it the worst, the baggiest clothing. Chinese also are the smartest. Not all of them, but some of them have good jobs. They make some good money. And they're stuck being an engineer or some fucking shit to please their parents. Their parents are completely controlling narcissistic sociopaths. Only Indians and Chinese are the only two races with parents that are completely controlling in the world. They want you to have good grades, good jobs. These two are the only races that are like that. Unless the media is not going to help us. K-pop was the only thing that ever helped us. Bruce Lee is not going to help us. So stop depending on the media. If you're not assimilating and whitewashing yourself and you try to look like a fucking Hollander, a fresh off boat piece of shit, you're fucked. The guys who are 1 to 5 who are going to marry white girls and procreate, guess what? They look whitewashed. They talk like a white guy. Those are the people that's going to survive. People who are just, it's not about messy hair because I didn't fix it today, but it looked kind of K-pop-ish. So why the fuck are you going out there looking like a K-pop artist with bad hair and you don't look like a K-pop artist? That's the thing that Asians don't understand. K-pop artists do not wear baggy clothing like you. They're not unattractive like you. And you may think they're not very strong. They're very muscular. They have to dance like more than 12 hours or 14 hours a day. They're extremely muscular, like 8-pack abs. You are not them. And they have surgery to have this kind of physical appearance. They had to have surgery to have this physical appearance. To what extent do you think Western media has damaged your SMV? That's the answer. So is Asia rising in the future? I would say no, Asia is going down. Asia is going to be more xenophobic. The more we have these Chinese people and the more shit they cause from China and with bad hair and all this, and we have all these Chinese people who are just negative stereotypes, who have no facial expressions, who cannot change their tonality in their voice, who cannot connect because they have no empathy. Asian is on the way down. And you guys don't realize that. You think you could do a few more spam approaches. You guys think you can just do a few more spam approaches. Oh, it's all game, John. It's all game. Guess what? Game is where the guys who hire SMV. They do it the opposite order. Game, a little bit of vibing and a little bit of social calibrations, body language, and social skills. Most of the people in this industry has no social skills. You think JT Tran, ABCs of Attraction have social skills? Hey, what's up? They do not have social skills. That's the problem. How many students did they get laid for Daygame for ABCs of Attraction? Because they're using the mystery method, the white man's method, derivative. How many testimonials for Daygame did they have for an Asian company? So the mystery method doesn't work. That's killing Asian men. You guys don't understand. You guys think you can RSD this shit. Just like my other student here. That's the problem with the Chinese. Because they always go with RSD because they say looks don't matter. Just spam approach. And that's the problem because it's very appealing. Because if looks don't matter, then they don't get offended. And because they don't get offended, guess what happens? They'll just keep spam approaching until they're dead. They'll keep spam approaching until they burn out. Because they have no social skills. Asians need to have more social skills and facial expressions in order to really rise up in the world. So if you want to change the world as an Asian man, you start dressing with the hair up like I do, okay? Not like a fucking Asian guy. Okay. Mind the K-pop hair. It's not like a fucking, not with the hair down, with the hair up. And second of all, what you got to do is you got to wear blazers. You got to dress nice for a change. This is the Johnny Elite Army. All my students, including him, every one of my students, they wear blazers. This is the symbol of Johnny Elite. This is if Anonymous had some kind of mask, the Johnny Elite Army wears a blazer. It's not like saying this in real army or whatever. Learn to use facial expressions. If you don't have facial expressions and congruency, nobody will understand what the fuck you're trying to communicate. Like Andrew Yang, you'll be held back. You'll be held back. No, we're not on the way up. We're on the way down. Asian stock has gone down and plummeted as much as the US economy right now. That's the truth. It's not fear mongering. It's not race baiting. It's not trying to use this like ABCs of attraction to bring more pain so I make more money. It's nothing like that. It's just the truth. The truth that the Jewish media has put us on the chopping block. They used to be on the chopping block. Now they're putting us, we are the next race on the chopping block. The problem is our women are going to white guys. Basically, Asian men that just keeps going out with Asian women, they think that is not going to affect them because they are part of 54% of Canadian born or American born Chinese women or Asian, they'll marry a white guy. Basically, your daughter in the future is basically farmed for a tall, creepy, inbred looking, tall, bulky, inbred looking face white guy. That's going to be your future son-in-law. You should go for white women only. But if you were a short Asian guy and you were a negative stereotype, the problem is that you're trying to play a positive stereotype game. So for the Chinese and all these people, because a lot of them are not focused. They have autism, they have ADHD, and they are delusional as fuck like sociopaths. This was actually designed for taller cavemen. Back in the old days when there's no ethnicities, there was no Africans. There's Africans. They've been around for a long time. Africans, Caucasoids, Mongoloids, right? And Indians, all these different type of races were offshoots of evolution. But back then in our caveman days, all of us were roughly quite big. We're all hairy. We're all quite strong. So there's not like a big hierarchy. So for them, the reason why they're lazy cunt motherfuckers, as I'm saying, is because of evolutionary psychology. Whenever you hunt, you need to conserve energy. So that's why you need to be like more like lazy. So when you hunt, you can be more focused. But the problem is that these negative stereotype Asian people, these negative stereotypes are trying to play the same positive stereotype game. This is why positive stereotype dating coaches have nothing to offer in the world, because they sneak around in this order because of the evolutionary psychology. Is this starting to make sense? So for you, if you want to play a negative stereotype game, you start with the social skills. The blue pill is funny because for blue pill, they have perfect social skills. Everyone social skills is maxed out. It's almost like way up here. You're like, what the fuck? That's how they're able to get girlfriends. This is something you should learn. It's called social stealth. Social stealth. You're like, my Pakistani mentor in the inner circle, everyone besides me already maximized the social skills. Asians are all doing it the wrong way. They can start with social skills, social calibrations, which is part of Elite 30. Look at this, guys. If you look at the chart here, right here, these two, how big is this? Is this enough for your value down here to get you over that line? No. The only people that could get laid using this kind of style is usually for an Asian guy. They always have that one token Asian. So what is that one token Asian? I've done the research. For Canada, is the 5'9". Is 5'9.5" or United States, somewhere like that. So anything below that, women in psychological studies have said that they want a guy 8 inches taller to feel safe. So I've done my homework. You guys are not scientific. Social skills, because you're autistic. Most of you guys, yes or no, is this true? So therefore, this is what Asians should focus on right here. These two. So this is more than 50%. If each of these out of 10 for game, this is 2.5, 2.5, that's 5 out of 10. So whatever little game you put, let's say you put a 1 out of 10 game, that's 6 out of 10. And learn how to control your emotions. Looks is only here. If you treat everyone wearing a mask, right, and just looking at their fashion, their positive stereotype, their muscle mess. Here's the thing. Here's the arrow. And third of all, you see that right here. He said Bruce Lee has a huge lats and stuff, but the widest part of the man is a V-shaped shoulder. So by having more shoulders,
you're increasing the arrow theory. This is why the working out helps a lot. They all have narrow shoulders, like a girl. Your shoulders are here, while most of the other people's shoulders are here. Every single one of you have narrow shoulders because you have too much cortisol. Cortisol inhibits your ability to grow muscles because cortisol destroys your nervous system. It destroys your ability to synthesize muscles and to lose fat. Does that make sense? So you guys have a cortisol problem. That's why you can't really gain a lot of muscles. So you need to handle your cortisol problem first. Once you handle the cortisol, then your emotional intelligence was then going to -50. You go back to closer to -10, -5. You need to control your emotions. So for the arrow theory, a lot of you have narrow shoulders. Second of all, most of you are not like, for the face is not the face. For you guys, your issues is the social skills, social calibrations. So you guys are actually doing the opposite way. You're doing the wrong way. And the emotional problems. So you guys should sneak here. For negative stereotypes, start here, social skills, social calibrations, emotional intelligence, and lastly, game. This is why the students were able to use these two and just a little bit of game, just polling tactics. Instigates, pull, and it converts. So we've seen through the stress test of COVID-19, without social skills and you try to do it this way, you're going to get rejected because you can't build trust. There's a pandemic out there. So this is the real looks theory, the arrow theory. Most of you hunch out there and most of you are shallow breathers. You can't because you breathe like you sip the air. I can hold on all day. Sorry, I only breathe out because I had to because I coughed. What's wrong with ABCs of attraction? The thing is that you have to wonder, why does ABCs of attraction, right, not get Asian day game testimonials? They have Asian night game testimonials, but not day game. That's a great question as an Asian man to be asking. Why does ABCs of attraction does not work that well for Asians for day game? They're tall, good looking coach, something Hung or Daniel Hung or whatever. He's only got one lead testimonial for day game. So why does the mystery method not work? Because JT Tran, who studied from mystery, he's a derivative. He tried to use fashion. He tried to use all this shit. Why did it not work? It's very simple. When you're doing night game, this is a good question. When you're doing night game for Asians, you don't need social skills. It's not important because it's a loud club. You can barely even hear each other. So they work on the body language. You see that? So they try to do a little bit of social calibrations. They'll try to touch, but Asians don't have much emotions anyways. So that's not important. They're not really emoting. They're just using PME tactics. So that's not there. So they're trying to use these two, a little bit of body language, a little bit of game. Because in day game, there's a thing you have to, the thing is that the women are down to fuck. Like Tinder, DTF. Because they're down to fuck. This makes it a lot easier. But however, because Mystery is a white guy who believes that you should only build attraction, and then afterwards, you should build comfort. You should keep dating her until she's ready to have sex, and then you can finally seduction. So because of the mystery method is a flaw in it. There's a big flaw in it. Plus they go direct. I've shown all the people that went direct, they don't have much testimonials that went or two. So because mystery refuses to acknowledge escalating like Drizzy over there, because they don't escalate sexually or flirt. They keep dating. That's a white man's game. So with ABCs of attraction, when they learn from white man's game, it never works for minorities or Asians. It will never work in a trillion years. So Asians should be doing the opposite. The reason why my game works is because the social skills is here. They're missing this block right here. Social skills. They don't have it. And the emotional intelligence. The ability to flirt, tease, all that stuff. And also to control their emotions. They don't have it. So they're missing half of the chart. So ABCs of attraction would never get a big and late testimonial because they use that mental filter of a white dumb motherfucker. And I started Daygame in 2001, way back then. Mystery showed up in 2003. I am a senior to Mystery by 2 years. 2 years. So I started with a lay guide. It was a guide NLP for night game. I used it in a college campus. And I didn't know it was a night game guide. I didn't even know what night game was. I just wanted to get late. And back then we used to dial up internet, Netscape and stuff. So I'll read this place called the Out Seduction Fast Forum, or it wasn't a forum, it's called a news group. So John is 2 years senior to Mystery in terms of the scene of Daygame. That's right. For PUA. This was 2001 was when they put all the theories together. Like I said, I didn't get laid until way afterwards. until K-pop existed. In fact, I feel that was crazy because I needed to learn every fucking system in the world to see what works. But game is only like 1 to 25%. That's what you don't realize. Yes, Black Pill is right. There is a value system, looks, money, status. But however, you're missing this value system. If this is all of 10, right? This is 2.5, 2.5. Let's just say roughly 2.5 and 2.5. If you only focus on game, just like a black guy over there who got results under my product, he's only focused on game. So therefore his value is so fucking high. He just needs a little bit of game to get over the line. Game is just basically a value delivery system. And if it's not enough value, you add a little bit more vibes from emotions. So that's the problem. That's the problem with focusing on just game. You should be focusing on social skills. This is why ABCs of attraction doesn't work. In the mystery method, mystery is autistic and he's a schizophrenic. He takes antipsychotics. And Ross Jeffries' mystery back in the day, because mystery won out, people went to the mystery method. But the mystery method does not work for Asians because it lacks social skills. It lacks social skills. That is the reason why, because they can't get above the line. If you do the math, it's very dumb. Looks, right? If we talk about looks, Gary, we're not just talking about the face here. We're talking about the height and we're talking about the muscles. It's all tight. Money's all five because people don't care about money. As you can see, even in the Chinese making so much money and shit. Status. This is race, natural status or earned status. That could be like a lifestyle. It's all 10. It's all 10. All 5, all 10. And then game. Game is all 10. But we can divide into 4 pieces. We can divide in 4 pieces. And once a person maxes out their game, so for white people, right? If white people if they're already decent looking, they're tall, they're good looking, and they're wide shoulders and shit, they're already 8 out of 10. Let's just say they're 7 out of 10. 7.5. How much money do they have? They're probably dropped like a poor fuck. Maybe 1. Guess what? 10 out of 10 for being white in their game. So 10 plus 1 is 11 plus 7.5 is 18.5. So their game only needs to be like 1.5. You see that? That's why they don't have testimonials. So when someone like Mystery with a 1.5 game teaches Asian people, this is designed for the tall cavemen. When they try to go and use this method, the short Asians, they get slaughtered. And over here, they should be using it the other way. This way already gives you 2.5. 2.5. That's already a 5 out of 10 game. That's already higher than the white man's 1.5 game. Hope that makes sense. And if you can work on your emotions, you get another like maybe 1 or 2 points. And then the game should be the last thing you work on. Once you master these 3 things, then the game is the last piece that you work on. So I hope that makes sense. So why are Asians the lowest? I just explained it to you. JT Tran is a positive stereotype. He's a negative stereotype. He speaks like a white guy and he's a fat fuck. So first of all, I don't even think JT Tran's that good at game. So first of all, his looks, right? He's short, arrow theory. His looks are like 4 out of 10. 4. His money is probably higher. Maybe around like, right now it's 3 or 4. I would say around like 4. That's 8. That is Asian 1. Maybe if he uses celebrity status, then he can raise it up. His game is just basically out of 10. His game is really closer to 4. Okay. For night game is 4. For day game is really 0. But for benefit of doubt, we just say averagely like 3. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's just not over the line. You see that? This is why he doesn't have any influence or any proof. He's just barely over the line. He'll luck out once in a while. So you're delusional. Again, that's the truth. This is why he hired a different instructor. He hired a Daniel Hung, who was 6'2", muscular, very good looking Asian guy, because now they need a taller Yao Ming basketball player on the team. So that's how he's able to do it. That's how they're able to do it. The other guy uses Tinder or some shit. And he has a girlfriend who's bisexual. That's how they bypass for pre-subs and stuff. Because they're still using status pre-selection, her race advantage. Even though that woman's probably not even white, it's probably half black, but it looks white, so the advantage goes up. It's all on science. There's no theories. The secret algorithm is to get 20 out of 35. Does that make sense? Once you get 20 out of 35, the student will get laid within this few days or a week, automatically. And he doesn't have to be good looking either. He can no looks, but he can maximize the chart on this. So that's the thing about Asians. That's why Asians are lowest. Asians are really 1 out of 10 at most. 1 out of 10. There's always some guys, dating coaches, who have that one Asian late testimonial, and all of a sudden the whole element plus game chart or the social skills gets thrown out the fucking window. Because they say, oh, because one
exceptional Asian guy. LMS does not exist. Value does not exist. That's bullshit. That's just one. I'm talking about the rule, not the exception. And Asians, they're the only women in the whole world, Asian women, that are begging for white men. They want every other race. If she's dark skinned like a Filipina, she'll go for Indian guy or a black guy because she cannot get the white man. She wants to go up the ladder, hypergamy. Why are Asian women, 54% of Asian women, trying to flee the Asian men? Answer me that. If Asians are not really last place, how the fuck is more than half the race of a women, the American-born Chinese or American-born, why are they fleeing from their own fucking culture? Because they think Asian men are low. Look at online statistics. Why are Asian men way lower? Black men are low. Asian men are low. Indian are low. But Asians, once again, low. Why is it like that? Sexual market value in terms of the Hollywood industry, why is it so low? Because Asians are their own worst enemies. They don't want to work out, first of all. Second of all, they don't want to learn facial expressions. Third of all, they don't want to learn how to change their tonality. And fourth of all, they don't want to learn how to emote or control their emotions. And because they're always angry about some shit, or they're always like affected because they have low self-esteem. They dress like shit. You have to dress, whitewash, assimilate. That's a very important thing. So how would Asians rise? Do everything opposite of Andrew Yang. Learn facial expressions. So this is what they call the Asian poker face. They always stand like this. Poker face, poker tonality, poker everything. They hide their expression and emotions. The name of the game is congruency. Asians have to learn how to be more congruent. Andrew Yang was not congruent. I didn't know what the fuck he was about. I couldn't even stand him. I literally could not even watch more than like a few seconds of his video because he wasn't moving his face. His tonality was good, but that's the problem. You see a lot of these Asian guys out there who are gurus out there, but they don't have any facial expressions either. They have great tonality. They sound great when they talk, but they don't have any tonality. So that's another thing. So another thing that I want to talk about. So how can they erase? First of all, you got to dress more whitewashed. You need to have more of a white hairstyle. Asians always dismiss the hair. Whenever a student gets laid, they're Asian during COVID-19, I always tell them to get a haircut, but they never admit it because their hairstyle is not very whitewashed. Okay. So we're talking about the dark triad: sociopathy, narcissism, and Machiavelli manipulator. Okay. So this is called the dark triad. And you Asians know about triad. Okay? We're talking over here about narcissistic personality disorder. This is why Asian parents and Indian parents control them so much. They control them so much because they say you have to be good at school. In reality, their real plan is so that you will send money back home as an Indian. The parents are sociopaths. They want to arrange marriage so they can control you and get you to send money back home. For the Chinese, however, the parents want to move over to America and want you to take care of them. You are their retirement plan. You are their retirement plan. So for the Asians, since you are their retirement plan, your parents are completely controlling narcissists. That Asians have a higher ego. The reason why they're talking about losing their pride and they're talking about assimilating, and would they lose their identity, or how would they not lose their self-esteem? One student got a haircut. So he finally got his haircut exactly the way I told him to do it. What happened? He's like, John, every single day I go to the gym now because I told him to work out. You know what he said to me? He said, John, every day white people are looking at me. They seem to really hate me. They seem to be angry at me. I don't know why. Why are white people angry at me? So we couldn't figure it out. You couldn't figure it out. This is America. So he says the same thing again the next day. I was like, what the fuck? And then afterwards, I asked him if he pomaded his hair upwards. You know what I mean? If he actually used pomade on his hair, he says no. And I say, there you go. Because you didn't pomade your hair up. Asians need to use pomade. Stop using gel or air dry towel hair. When they start using pomade, you know what happened? These white guys no longer treat my student like different. White people are not racist, or white women, they're not racist. His hairstyle, once it's up there, the white people, they no longer got xenophobic. So it's not about you holding on to your pride about how awesome you are because you're going to lose your ego or you're going to lose your identity. Is the reason why you're holding on to this identity as an Asian man is because of a narcissistic personality disorder. Because you're so narcissistic. That's why you're holding on to your fucking pride. That's the real reason. When you assimilate like the other guy, he now realized, holy shit, white people are not racist. They actually were just xenophobic. So what is xenophobia? Xenophobia
is a fear and dislike of other people's culture. It's a fear and dislike of other people's culture. They don't understand your ching chang chong shit. They really don't. That's the answer that Asians don't want to hear. Women are not racist. They just xenophobic. They don't like people in different tribes. This is evolutionary psychology. This is what they call the out tribe. This is what Asians don't understand. Why would you fight the game from out tribe? ABCs of attraction try to tell you that it's all about the out tribe, or you try to be like proud to be Asian. But if the student fixes fucking hair, he no longer receives racism. When he no longer receives, we both like violent kung fu movies. However, say that when they fix their fucking hair, guess what happens? They no longer experience racism. And now this is very different because you're trying to have this Asian pride. I'm so Asian. Let's go alienate everyone from the out tribe. JT Trent says. But JT Trent doesn't have any Daygame student results. He tried to brainwash you like RSD, which is called this Asian inner game bullshit. What if I am teaching an ABCs of attraction student right now and he wasn't gaining any results before? You should take your augment your opponent's strength and add it to your own, which is you steal the white man's SMV and you fuck their women. Genghis Khan did like that. He just killed everyone and just fucked their women. You've lost something. You used to be so alpha back then. But what happened to you? Learn how to whitewash yourself. Whitewash. It's not losing your identity. It's more like losing your fucking ego. Why face the unnecessary resistance? Like my Pakistani mentor always says, why make it harder on yourself? That's the question. Why make it harder on yourself? For no reason, you are making the game 10 times harder on yourself. It's retarded. So by dressing like shit, that's called Asian pride. That's nothing to be proud of. But acting like a bunch of psychopaths with no emotions, that's Asian pride. Nothing to be proud of. By rapport seeking, up talking because you can't stop approaching goddamn Asian women. Hi, I thought you looked cute. That's Asian pride. By giving JT Trent thousands of dollars just to brainwash your left brain, although the right brain is still fucked because the other student's still fucked up. I have to fix a lot of shit. And when he's dressing whitewash, now he's not facing resistance. Isn't that a smarter strategy? Huh? Isn't that a superior strategy? Then why do we need Asian pride? Asian pride is bullshit. Asian pride is narcissistic pride of a culture, of a race of the most narcissistic people in the world. Indians are the most narcissistic, and Asians are the most, or Chinese are the most narcissistic in the entire fucking world. Because you got no self-esteem. Because you dress like shit, and you're socially retarded, you're not aware. That's the problem with Asian men. Asians will never get it because they're so fucking socially autistic and retarded and narcissistic. It's almost like you're a sheep, like RSD victim. Next questions. Do Asians have a high SMV in Latin America and Eastern Europe? I wouldn't say it's super high, but it wouldn't hurt to dress well. It wouldn't hurt to bulk up. It wouldn't hurt to be taller. Even in Europe, it is easier in Europe because they're more forgiving and you're more exotic. But it doesn't mean every single country respects Asian men. And the more the multicultural places like London, the harder it is for Asian men. So not all Eastern European countries, maybe somewhere like Poland where there's less Asian men, but there are still a lot of Vietnamese there that are born and raised in Poland. Other places like Prague where you have less Asians, the places that have less Asians, there are some societies that Asian men do a lot better. Instead of being whitewashed, and the Asians who are most successful white women are the ones who assimilated. They're so whitewashed, they don't even have any inner game issues. They're so whitewashed, they dress like a white guy, they talk like a white guy, and they're tall. They're always tall. They're usually above 5'9". They're like 5'10", 5'11", or something like that. Yeah, and they do pretty well. So be whitewashed. It's not about proudness or whatever. They don't even know what this Asian pride thing is either. The ones who are going to procreate and marry a white woman, they have no idea. They have no inner game issues. They just go in there, social skills, and they do fine. Whitewash. It's not about fucking pride or Asian pride. That's just bullshit. If Asian pride has led to more student results for Daygame, for ABCs of attraction, then I wouldn't have to attack the company. Asian pride and this Asian inner game is killing the culture. Be proud, like ABCs of attraction says, be proud that you're Asian or in something in spite of it. I'll say, fuck you. Your theory has failed, Asian men. You have fucked them over and COVID-19 destroyed ABCs of attraction. So in the mystery method game that does not work for Asian men, I don't think it was consensual. I think he was just
rape them all. His conquering tribe. 1 in every 100 people have a Genghis Khan gene. You know that? Mills? 1 in 100 people. That's how far his genes have spread to the world. That's amazing. He's banged more women than anyone else. He has the highest leg count, Genghis Khan, in the world. Probably, yeah. But the thing is, after he died, everything else died for the Asian men. All we had is Bruce Lee, which is like 1/5 German. Hype pill in the house is not hype pill. It's not hype pill. I made a video showing all the students. So I put like a green for how fast they get laid. If it's green, it's fast. If they're shorter, and I put yellow for medium speed, and I put red for slow speed. It seems to be a correlation between height and delay. So it's not a theory. It's not a theory. It's evolutionary psychology. It's protector status and it's protector status. It's not height or whatever. It's not. It helps a lot. The students do get laid faster, even the Asian students. So it's not a theory. It's not a theory. Mills over here is 6'2", and he finds it very easy to get laid. Height doesn't matter as long as you're above the national average, 5'9". This is something I've discovered for all these years of teaching. I've been teaching since like early 2013. I didn't even like late 2012, early 2013. And I had the most student results in the world. The height thing is not a bullshit thing. So that's why I tell my students, rather than saying, oh, height doesn't matter, it's all a limiting belief. Guess what? They wear elevator shoes and they just get it in. Just heelless. There's no time for theories. If they're 5'4", then boost their height a little bit to a 5'7". It's not a theory. Daygame is not equal to hating your own kind. Fuck your Asian pride. I think it's stupid. Asian pride is stupid. Why not? Don't you like their aesthetics? He's talking about Asian women. You should try approaching some good-looking foggies on the streets and stuff like that. So you guys think that John doesn't approach Asian women? Of course I don't. But I had some students that were like, hey, John, can you help me like fucking bang some Asian women? And on the very first or second approach, I already helped him same day lay. I couldn't get hard, so I only put my dick inside her for once and I got out. It still counts as a lay. Maybe I'll post some of those infields. There was one Chinese girl I used to like. She has very skinny waist and her face looks like about Asia Alita, big eyes and stuff. It's kind of she looks exactly the same. So there's only one Asian woman I ever liked. The rest I don't find attractive, but I can post the infields if you want in the future of these things, just to prove I'm not racist against my own kind. It's just, I don't prefer them. I don't like them. I don't find them attractive. The reason why I found her so attractive, she does yoga. So her body is like very slim and stuff like that. I like that. Dude, what are French women like? I've actually banged a lot of women who are French. They're lovely. They're absolutely fucking lovely. They usually have like brown eyes and they have brown hair and they have very white skin, but they're very lovely. They have a reputation. They don't shower very often in France, but French women, I love French women. They treat me very well. You should try to at least bulk up. You should try to be a pretty boy type. It's going to help you in Europe. You need some type of SMV. You can't have no SMV. Or you got to do a lot of spam approaching. And I had a student like that. He's 5'7", pretty boy, but he would approach every single fucking girl in the city before he moves to the next one. He got a lot of lays in Europe. Okay. I'm going to show his testimonial soon in the future too. He has about 7 lays with super hot women. However, he got rejected so many times, but it was less than he got before after my training. But that's something to keep in mind. Height matters everywhere. It's universal. It's not heightism or some bullshit. When a white guy says, I'm 5'8", who gives a fuck? You're white. I have white students who are 5'7" doing same day lays. So the question is Latin America. Latinas are the flakiest women towards Asian men in the world. One of my students after the boot camp, the bald guy, he went back to a place in the United States. It's all Latinas, 80%. He got flaked on like crazy. He was 5'11", bald, strong, but he wasn't good looking. Latinas are the most shallow women on earth. But for some reason, Latinas give Indians a chance. I'll post more of that in the future. That happens all the time. So if she's not in your fucking bedroom, in the first approach, metaphorically speaking, learn some fucking calibration, not just game. Follow this route. Social skills, social calibrations, emotional intelligence, game. No such thing as spam approaching. No such thing. Okay. For Latin America, however, if the Asian goes to Latin America on Tinder, they do much better because the country is poor. It's a third world country where they behead each other. They're always kidnapping each other and they're always beheading each other in these South American countries. They're all sociopaths.
The only other race outside of Indians are all sociopaths is Latinos. They're fucking crazy. Latinos will fuck donkeys. Like seriously, they'll do it. Look on Vice. Just Google Vice, Latinos fucking donkeys and stuff. They'll do it. It's there. My Pakistani mentor showed me. They're fucking crazy. I do have Latino students. Some of them are okay, but they're all delusional. They're all crazy. In Latin America, however, if you do go to Mexico or you go to South America as an Asian man and you go on Tinder and swipe, you'll find a lot more compliance over there because it's not because of your race or it's not because you protect your status. When they come to North America, and a lot of them migrated over to Canada because of Donald Trump. They're very shallow. They'll flake on Asian. But when Asians are over there in those Latino countries, they get more compliance on Tinder because now they have more status because they're all poor over there. They're poor ass country, poor violent country. So yes, Asians will have some SMV there, but absolutely zero SMV unless you're 5'11" to 6'2", tall, strong, and 8-pack abs. Latinas are the most shallow towards Asians. And the second one that gets Latinas are the Filipino-looking ones. The Asians who are short and they look like Filipinos because they look like Mexicans. Mexicans have black hair, black eyes, just like us Asians. My eyes, is it black? Is it brown or something? What color is my eyes? I have no idea. It looks a little bit like brown. Yeah, it's like a dark brown or medium dark brown. So I have no idea what my eye color, but it looks very dark. Maybe the lighting is reflecting. But however, the Latinos do look like Mexicans. So if you're buff, you're 5'7", but you're really buffed, even with Latinas will be into you. So that's the exception to the rule because Asians look like Mexicans. Therefore, you build trust. And I have a student right now who has a girlfriend with a Latina. Actually, a few of them do. Okay. After his boot camp where she got laid, he's half Filipino, half white. He's the guy in the video calling like scumbag vibe. So he got a Latina girlfriend, a hot Latina girlfriend. However, yeah, they're into Filipinos too. The Asians that, because he's half white, he's bright skinned, but they're more familiar with people that looks like Mexicans. But outside of that, if you look like anything else, if they're not into K-pop, these Latinas, holy fuck, will you ever get flaked on? More than ever. Women love criminals. Yeah, they do. Because criminals have survival value, money. They're exciting. And their behavior is more alpha. And they have like drug money. So that adds to their survival value too. They're able to survive the law. But when they get in jail, she's not loyal. The hoe ain't loyal. Next question. Do you try approaching some good looking Chinese fogs in streets of Richmond or Vancouver? I have done a lot of Daygame in Richmond too. So it's not like I haven't. Richmond is even more racist because it's saturated with Chinese people everywhere. So the white girls over there have spent their entire lives raised in Richmond in such a way that they're used to ignoring Asian men. So they spend their entire life treating Asian men like the background, like trees or whatever, like the sewer, the car in the background. So they're not used to the Asian men talking to them. It reinforces the negative stereotype. So it's just like London. The more Asians you have, the more multiculturalism, the harder it is for them. So that's the truth. I have not experienced any racism whatsoever by being whitewashed. They always think I'm not Asian as in their tribe. White women are comfortable with me. I've never experienced racism. You're experiencing racism because you're afraid to assimilate. I talk like a white person. I act like I'm a white person underneath this Asian body. But for you guys, because you're fucking pride, you don't want to sing. I would say put your pride aside and experience what it feels like to be whitewashed. When you have absolutely no racism in your life and no xenophobia, guess what happens? You start to raise your self-esteem. You're actually, the very thing you're holding on to, your goddamn fucking pride, your ego, is the only thing keeping you from getting the results that you should be getting. That's the only thing that's keeping you. Because you won't let go of because you think assimilation equals you're replaced. No. Assimilation means you get access to the white women faster. And who cares if you have an accent? You can have a fucking Chinese accent. As long as you're tall, you're muscular, and dress okay, and confident, you'll be fine. And fix your fucking hair. Don't have this fucking Chinese shit. You're not a K-pop. Okay, I'm going to be real honest with you guys, okay? For some of the Asians out there who thinks you can have this K-pop or this hair down, unless you look like me or you look like a K-pop artist, you don't have any fucking right to have a hair like this.
because nest hair, they call it I forgot what's it called, a weave, not a weave, but that's a black woman's hair. It's a bird's nest. It's a fringe. Call this a fringe. They usually put some products and they do this kind of thing to it. Unless you look like a pretty boy type, don't even fucking try it. You're insane. You don't look like a K-pop artist. I do. You guys can't pull it off. So why even try it? Are you insane? I can do it. You can't because you're too ugly. No offense. Just worry about the height and worry about the muscles and worry about dressing like a whitewash person. That's all I say.